Woo! That got me a little pumped. Hey, Mike.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to our first ever live award show that neither of us have ever done before. Hey, how are you? Why does I got a double audio thing happening? Do you hear it?
No, I just think you're just hearing your sexy voice twice.
Oh, good.
Whoa, the comments are
must have a video
pouring in. All right. Brett Wright, elbow cough.
There we go. All right. I messed up. How's everybody doing? Welcome to our award. It's Mike and me right now. Nick was coming. I don't know if something came up, so he should be here. But hey to Jeremy and Brett and Melanie and Darren and everybody watching, hopefully around the world. I know it's a really, really early in the morning in Australia, but everywhere else, hopefully we try to get this in the sweet spot. Very, very excited to do this. I am very grateful for everyone that supported this. I want to, before we kind of get into, the awards and announcing the winners, and Mike and I are going to talk a little bit about what we did. I definitely want to thank some people. I want to thank Mike first. I've had this idea for a couple of years now. Last year, seeing some of the photos that actually did end up getting submitted were kind of a fire lit under me to make it happen. And I didn't want these photos to go unrecognized. And so I was like, and last year was such a weird year for all of us. I was pretty lazy, but January 1st, I'm like, I gotta do something new and I gotta do this. So Mike was very instrumental in talking over Zoom with me, like multiple sessions with hammering out thoughts and ideas of how it would go. Even the video critiques, Mike was a big idea of his to, add value to the contest. And from the feedback, I think that we've all gotten, the critiques have been pretty valuable to people. And, some people even not making it far enough were like, hey, why? And, I did a little video for someone explaining, and they were very, very, grateful. So hopefully, we're helping, maybe raise the bar a little bit, hopefully educate a little bit on what we could all do better this year. And then next year's contest is going to be even more awesome. So, thanks to Mike for, kind of coming up with some of those ideas and making this contest even better than, I hoped it could be. David Erickson, I don't know if he's on here, but David was
he's probably asleep.
Probably asleep. Yeah. He was a technical web guru guy that, helped me a lot with a lot of the back end stuff. I did, the website myself, but he helped me with, the shopping cart and the photo upload submission process, which is pretty difficult to put together in about a month. So, he was invaluable, and I appreciate him so much. And Paige, Mike's girlfriend, Paige Vincent, she came up with the logo. She proofread the site for me, and again, everybody, including the judges, which I haven't talked about yet, but all of us are. This is a passion project. We broke even with the number of entries, with the expenses and the trophies and all that. So that's awesome. But we've all been working on this because we really, really love great photography, and we want to see it recognized. And everybody's just kind of said, yeah, we want to jump in on this and be a part of it. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. So to Mike and Nick and Linda, I wish she had been able to appear in this video and the critique videos, but she's on an incredible assignment with someone else working on a time-lapse job. And she's just somewhere where literally it's like a 14.4 baud modem, like internet connection. Like she just can't.
Service just doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist where she is. So she has been able to look at the photos and did the scoring, which was a big part of this, obviously. But hopefully next year we'll have her around to be part of the critiques and all that. So. But I appreciate the judges putting in their hard work. Nick Page did, he helped put together a couple of those videos that we post on YouTube, the critiques, and that's a lot of work to take those, because as I have been trying to put together one Mike and I did that's still not out yet. It's not super easy. So
my bad.
Yeah, mine too. We've learned a lot from this and made some mistakes and lost some critiques from crashed computers, and it's been a lot of work. And so for me, we started putting this together in early January, and here we are at the end of March, finally get to announce the winners. And I'm just going to drag it out as long as possible to annoy the crap out of the people watching. But I really want to quickly thank the sponsors. I mean, this is our first contest, first year. And it was really awesome that Davis Instruments became a sponsor right away. They're giving away this. I forget which one is Photographer of the Year, Photo of the Year wins the Vantage View bundle. And then the other award wins the air quality sensor. I mean, it's really amazing that they would donate that. These are big prizes, and I'm just so honored that they thought this was worth it. And I believe they're even talking about featuring the winners in an upcoming newsletter, a story, or blog, or something. So stay tuned for that. Rich over at Lightning Trigger donated a Lightning Trigger to one of the prizes. We love Rich. You will probably have to wait a little bit to get your Lightning Trigger because he's always backed up and people want these all the time. But I appreciate him, being a sponsor and donating that. And then also each winner will get the winning picture, and or if you're a photographer, the picture of your choice printed by Magnachrome. They do metal prints of 20 by 30. They're great. I've got them around my office. I've been using them for a really, really long time. They're amazing. So I really, really appreciate them, being a sponsor. And I lost Mike's beautiful face on here somehow.
Yeah, I accidentally clicked log in because I was going to chime in on the comments and logged me out. So that was counterproductive. So yay.
But yeah, and then Washington Post, also the Capital Weather Gang, they tweeted out our contest and all that. And all of you out there, I know there's a lot of people that have shared it, been excited about it, told their friends about it, try to get other people to enter. So that means a lot. This is definitely, like I said, a passion project. I see Doug Kiesling on there saying, drag it out. Drag it out, LOL. Hey, Julianne, and everybody else watching. So unfortunately, Nick's not here. Hopefully, 12 Eastern is 9 Pacific. So, right, we're 3 hours different now. So I want to make sure that I had the time right. But Mike and I were going to talk just a little bit about what we were looking for. And I've talked enough. So Mike hasn't got a chance to say too much. But we're going to talk a little bit about, kind of what we saw in the contest and maybe what we were looking for in the different categories. So, Mike, what do you got to say?
Yep, good job, peeps. Thanks. No, one dude for sure. Thank you for having me along on this. When you came to me with this idea, I was like, dude, yes, like so much yes. Because you look at other contests that allow weather imagery or based off weather imagery, and it's more of a popularity contest, like who get the most votes and who can, pimp out their website more than the other person. And so, for you to come and say, hey, let's do something that's actually genuine and judged, I think I told you right from the beginning, I was like, yeah, count me in. Right. So thanks for having me along on that journey. And it's been a fun ride, and definitely, it was really cool seeing weather from around the world, not just from the States, but, Croatia, Australia, I think there was some stuff from Italy. So this really kind of opened my eyes to like how good we have it in Tornado Alley, but also how, those who are like-minded photographers and love nature and everything nerdy that comes with it, photograph the weather in their areas. So it's been really, really cool to see that. Somebody said howdy from Slovenia. Like, that's awesome. So to kind of give you guys, without, dragging it on too long, what we all talked about, and personally for me, I've judged a lot of contests before. So, what I wanted to look at and see in this contest was diversity played a huge role. There are great images out there, but then there are images that just absolutely put your jaw on the floor. So those diverse images that stand out, from the rest of the group, that was like one thing that caught my eye right off the bat. But then also, it's a photography contest. So it's not just, hey, I happened to be in the right spot and I took this photo contest. It's, I was in the right spot. I waited for the optimal moment. Technically, I thought everything through. Compositionally, I thought everything through. And then that same kind of TLC that I gave my work while out there in the field, I gave to my post-processing. And I took the time to really work the images in post as well to bring them as true to life as possible. So it was a bunch of different things that for me personally, I look for in judging, and making sure too that, especially in the photographer of the year, which is the portfolio category, seeing that those people or the photographers not only just paid attention to tornadoes or lightning or cloud structures, but it was more of a storytelling piece, say, hey, this is what storm chasing is about. And I've been chasing now, God, it's 21 years since I first stole my best friend's car to go out chasing. And, those storytelling portfolios really, when they do a good job with those, it hits home, and it's like, yeah, this is why I go out every year. This is why I eat crappy gas station food. This is why I stress myself out looking at model data and everything. So for when it came to the photographer of the year, seeing somebody that had a story to tell or showed all the aspects of storm chasing, that played a big role there. So I feel like I'm waiting for Doug Kingsling to chime in and be like dragging it on, but
more and more and more.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts there.
No, and I agree with all that, and said was thinking the same thing, especially with photography of the year. We did lean kind of heavily on variety, and that's a tough part out there when you're chasing. Here in maybe the States and other places, hopefully where there's a little more weather, there are opportunities to shoot more things than just, if you live in South America and Venezuela, all you can do is shoot lightning over Catatumbo at midnight, and it's the same thing every night. But other places, we really did value that variety and storytelling. That was a really big deal. And just the overall quality of images. It's very, very tough to be out there chasing and see something incredible happening in front of you, but also want to take the time to get a better photograph than what you could get if you just jumped out of your car and stood on the side of the road and took a picture. And so that's what we're trying to do, a little bit with this contest. Yeah, we want to, we're storm chasers. We're going to jump out of our car and document a storm. And, some of the photos in this contest, a tornado from 100 feet away. Yeah, you probably just jump out of your car and take a photo of that because that's what you got. But we also, want to work on, trying to, up our game with compositions and technical skills and all that stuff in the coming years. And there's some incredibly amazing, technically awesome photos, but also, you know, we saw photos where like, yeah, this person, these people are very close to hitting this next level, but they've got to like, hey, yeah, we've got to get maybe a little better tripods. Your camera's a little steadier, or just got to work on that focus, you know, either work on your camera, adjust micro focus, or look through the live viewfinder and make sure, you know, manually adjust your focus. So just those kind of things that everybody, you know, needs to work on this year. So, but it was a lot of fun and very inspiring, and also, you know, somewhat angering to see some photos that we were there for, especially all you amazing people that were on the Dalton tornado. So
yeah, if I could add something, Mike, on that real quick, you know, when we got down to the finalists, you know, it was extremely challenging, both photographer of the year and photo of the year, for us to say, hey, this is, you know, this is the winner. And, you know, we all did our scoring and stuff like that. So it wasn't like we all got together and said this one. You know, we all individually scored separate from each other and then added up the tallies. So, but when it came down to it, a few tips for those that are kind of looking to enter next year. You know, like Mike said, focus is key. We saw some fantastic photos that were just slightly out of focus. You know, composition, the small details go a long way. So watch your corners. Yeah. Make sure there's nothing that's distracting in the corners of your frame. One of the easiest things that you can do out there is make sure that your image is level. So hit the info button on your live view on all these cameras now, and it'll pull up a level. So make sure you're level. And then last but not least, you know, small attentions to detail in post. You know, we saw some great photos that had center spots in them still, or raindrops on the frame. Remove those, you know, take those out. Those are things that are going to bring no good to your photo. And, you know, go ahead and remove those small little you know, things, and that's going to carry your image even further into the contest next year. So, and if you don't know how to do that, feel free to reach out to myself or Mike and say, hey, how do I take out sensor spots? It's an extremely easy thing to do. Yes, and it takes just a few minutes to do, and it'll help improve your work. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things that, you know, even like a couple of days ago, I'm looking at an image and I'm going through it. And as I zoom in enough, I noticed it was a long exposure at night. There's a lot of hot pixels all over. It must have been like 25 hot pixels all over this, which is just like a single dot that's like white in a whole dark sky. And it's not a star, it's a hot pixel. So those are just the little details that you go through, like zoom in, pan around, just go around your image multiple times to make sure that you don't miss those kind of things. Yeah. And that's just extra detail to show that you really, really value, you know, these images that you're putting out.
Yeah. And one last thing too is, you know, I've had a few people come up to me after contest and be like, you know, I didn't win. Why am I even doing this? Yada, yada. If you didn't place this year or win this year, let that light a fire under your butt. Don't be disappointed. You know, there's some fantastic images. There's images that I know Mike, myself, Nick, and Linda, we looked at, we're just like, holy crap. Like, I'm going to throw my camera out the window. But, you know, go back out there, learn from where your critique or what you saw in the critiques, and apply that next year and come back even stronger. Don't let it be something that, you know, makes you go, well, I suck at this, or I don't want to do this anymore. Let that light a fire under your butt and motivate you. I had some people tear apart my portfolio back in 2010, and it could have gone either way, and I ran with it, and that opened more doors. So take it and run with it. Don't let it bring you down.
I think that's one of the hardest things that, at least for me personally, that is tough, is criticism about your work. And I don't think I'm good at that. If someone even now or said, hey, Mike, your editing's a little, I would be like, what do you know? You know, but even earlier on, like, I never really sought that out, because it was kind of a scary thing to get criticism and feedback on your work, because someone is going to be honest with you and maybe you don't want to hear it. It's kind of the American Idol syndrome where they all think they can sing because no one's told them that they can't. And then suddenly a real judge says, no, you can't sing. You need to work on it. You got some stuff to work on. And that's kind of, you know, the same thing with this. So and to kind of just go with Mike said, there was someone in the contest like, Mike, why didn't I not make the top 30? What was wrong? And he's like, I was looking at my images and I noticed some of them were soft. Could you just let me know, because I want to be better this year? And it was a really awesome, way for this person to kind of light a fire, like Mike said, that hey, tell me what I did wrong. I want to do better this year. And I know this person is going to, because they already said, I am so pumped to go chasing this year and get better quality images. So I think it's really easy to get down on yourself, and there's people, the winners of right now, there was a top 10 finalist for photo of the year, and the people who don't win should have nothing, of course, to feel bad about. I mean, yeah. Any of these photos were worthy of, winning. And it's just tough. It's like we said, it was kind of personal, feelings, composition, and all that kind of stuff, and overall quality. And like watching a cooking show like Top Chef, a competition, it's like, oh, your dish was just slightly oversalted, and that was the reason, you didn't win. Just like your image might be slightly soft, and that was the reason it didn't make the win.
And one thing too that I just want to put out there, and then I'll shut up, is that when we all judge this, it wasn't there. There's a huge difference in the storms that the Central Plains gets versus, say, Europe gets. So none of it was based upon like, oh, well, this supercell, this is the beast, like it wasn't that. Like, we tried to understand too that, Australia sees different types of storms, Europe sees different types of storms. So that's the cool thing about it being storm photos and not like tornado photos of the year or supercell photo of the year. A storm could be something as simple as a small little popcorn shower that pops up for 5 minutes and then dissipates, but yet you get epic light and an epic lightning bolt or something like that. So, so just kind of for those that aren't necessarily in the Central Plains and you're thinking about next year, don't feel that pressure of you got to come to the Central Plains. Like, we'd obviously love to have you, but every storm can create an amazing scene, and that's what we're looking for.
Well, I mean, some of the best lightning shots that we got this year were not in this country, was on the United States.
Oh yeah, no,
for sure that they were other places with greater awesome mountains and views apparently than we have here. And so it's not, our contest is not just about who got the best supercell structure, the year and tornado of the year. Definitely tornado photos are going to stand out because it is a storm photo contest, and those tornado photos, some of them are incredible. But, next year, we're hoping to have a few more categories, like maybe tornado photo of the year, where we can really make a category specifically for all the great tornado pictures that maybe will come this year. Maybe there'll be more tornadoes than have happened, or maybe photogenic ones that Mike and I could be on. Although you were on Medill last year, and that was pretty photogenic. So
no, I'm just just going to point to that. Anyways,
just a rainbow in front of a tornado. So. Well, I think we've talked long enough. I could probably blab forever. I think we will just jump right in. I feel like I think saying 12 p.m. Eastern time. I never understand the ET time, or Melanie said EDT, so it's possible some people thought this started at like 33 minutes from now. So regardless, I always thought 12 p.m. Eastern and 9 Pacific was just the time that I was normally aware of. So anyway, we will just do this, and hopefully Nick doesn't hate me later for if the time was wrong and he wasn't here, because I'm sure he would love to be here. Although he might just be golfing. So
it's probably golfing. Yeah,
probably golfing. So, but yeah, so we'll just jump right into this, and I really don't know the best way to do this. So we're going to start with photo of the year, photographer of the year.
Let's do photographer of the year.
Photographer of the year. We'll start with that. So again, Mike and I said we were really looking for variety and overall like technical ability, but the variety and storytelling was a big thing. So without further ado, third place for photographer of the year for 2020 is Amy Howard. Third place. Yay! Clapping. I hope everyone else is out there clapping. Amy, again, Mike and I have another critique video coming out that I have to edit and post at some point, but we were under the gun. But this photo here that I have with your winning title here or whatever is one of my favorite ones you submitted, because we really liked the idea that you stopped to take this photo when a lot of us would be like, oh my God, it's 55 degrees after this hailstorm just came through and I just want to get to my hotel. And you see the tire tracks in the hail. It tells a story of the aftermath of a storm, the departing storm, the clearing sky, but the hail covered road to show it happen. I really love this photo, and I know Mike did too.
Yeah, I think with Amy's portfolio, one thing that caught my eye right off the bat was, once again, the diversity that she had. And this image, I think honestly, this image kind of pushed me to give her a few more points, because of the fact that, at the end of the day, you're out chasing, you're tired, like I said, you want to get back, you're trying to figure out which restaurant's open still so you can get a crappy bite to eat. And, she stopped and took advantage of kind of a moonlit scene and a hail-covered road. And this is a shot that probably 99.9% of us wouldn't stop to take, because at this point, we just want to get back and call it a day. And there was other images in Amy's portfolio too that just kind of made us go, wow, she stopped to see that, versus, trying to get in quote unquote better position, which really the position that you should have been in for the shot was where she stopped. So good job, Amy.
Absolutely. So congrats, Amy. Thank you for entering, and I know you're ready to go chasing this year. So hopefully all of us can do that soon, because I can't wait to get out. All right. Without further ado, again, second place photographer of the year, Nina.
Woo!
Nina, I'm sorry, I probably don't know how to say your last name. So I said it how it sounds, which is how my name always is, but people get it wrong. Of course, Nina had just some amazing photos overall. I wasn't sure which one to pick for this, but we really love this lightning bolt. And especially, seeing the ground lit up there. Just incredibly powerful scene. And even with the structure on the right to kind of help balance it out. And I know the words are kind of covering it, so it's kind of hard to see. But an awesome portfolio, great storytelling. Really love the black and white monster storm with the car on the horizon right in between. I mean, that was just fantastic. And I hadn't seen that one before from you. So just killer work.
Yeah, I think Nina, your portfolio was awesome. Like I said, there's so many portfolios besides the top three that were fantastic. But you stopped in, once again, places just kind of like Amy that I would never honestly think of stopping at. The shot with the two cows on the field and the dissipating storm. That's a shot that at that point I'm like, let's go get dinner. You had a storytelling narrative throughout your whole portfolio. And one thing that I really enjoyed was you kind of did something that most storm photographers don't do. And you actually submitted some images that were in monochromatic. And there's a shot you got with lightning over the Badlands National Park. I'm assuming it's Badlands. I think it's Badlands. But that was just epic. So the diversity and the fact that you thought outside the box when it came to post really kind of made me go, all right, yeah, here I'm going to give you a little bit higher score on that, because that's separating your work from others. And that was really refreshing to see.
Yeah, I mean, in that black and white one I mentioned with the cars on the road and the monster storm in the distance, Mike and I were both talking like we probably wouldn't have stopped, because we'd be too in a hurry to catch up with that storm, knowing we were that far behind, and just stopping for 25, 30 seconds would slow us down. Like it would actually feel like an eternity when you're trying to catch a storm. So, anyway,
you had the gutsiness to hit the brakes and get out of the car when most of us would have been flooring it. So so that's props to you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Nina, and I love Nina. Nina is amazing, and she took this awesome photo of me a couple years ago in the Tohoku tornado. I'm standing there time lapsing this, and she actually caught me looking to my left, which was away from the tornado, and she took this, I forgot what lens it was, a 50 or 135, but she took a shot of me with the tornado in the distance, and I've used it as like a cover photo. And so she's just really, she's kind. It was really cool that she even took that photo and sent it to me. And so I'm so happy for her. And I know that this year it's going to be even better. Nina, the other photo we really liked was the horse going away from the and stuff. It was really just a simple image, but such a cool, like, just juxtaposition of the horse kind of going the opposite way that the storm is moving. And I can, see that being a cover photo for a magazine or something, just like, I don't know, some Equestrian Today or something like that. But
Nina and Amy both are going to make me stop and look at animals while out storm chasing in a little different manner.
Absolutely. And honestly, yeah, I mean, not just those two, but a couple others, and the person who wins, like, I'm going to try to stop more this year and see different compositions and take those little shots that I normally would pass up because I'm looking for the big, huge shot with the lightning bolt or something. But instead, I want to look for that stuff. So, yeah.
All right, drum roll.
Let's go to the big winner. Drum roll. Photographer of the year, Tim Baca. Yay, Tim. Actually, I'm not sure that I have met Tim in person, but this image right here is an example of what I really, really loved about Tim's work, is that I was on the storm. I don't even know. I might have been on the same road, but he saw this and I saw something else, and I like his photo way better than mine. And this is just a perfect shot, perfect like tree, the light under this shelf cloud. And anyway, his work, very, very diverse, lots of different stuff, shots over freeway with light trails, different foreground elements, different sides of a storm, different focal lengths, there's, you can see his slideshow on our website where he's got the farmhouse with a creepy face in the window and the lightning bolt, and he's really tight on it. Just great kind of technical skill, and also, some subtle editing. It wasn't over processed. Some people could probably even take some of the processing a step further, but we really just love the subtle editing and just overall quality and storytelling. Yeah,
I think Tim, first off, congrats, man. Your work was outstanding. Everything, like Mike said, every image that you submitted in your portfolio, you can look at and tell you had intention for what you were trying to capture, how you were trying to convey that scene. And the composition, the technical details, everything was tack sharp. There were no blown highlights. There were no areas where I'm like, well, that really kind of seems a little distracting over there. Like, everything was clear and very well executed, both out in the field and also in your post processing. And I know I think we only ran across each other once, but there was a shot that Tim had in his portfolio that it kind of came back to my mind when we were judging. There's a old abandoned church out in New Mexico, and we were both standing out in the rain, waiting for lightning to strike behind this church, and waited, and finally I had enough, and I was like, screw it, I'm getting soaked, I'm getting in the car. And as soon as I shut the car door, boom, big bolt came down, and he got the shot, and I didn't. And that dedication, just standing out, and it was pouring rain, to stand out there and get that shot. And it's a very close bolt too. So the dedication that Tim put forth here, and it just really stood out. And like Mike mentioned, there's a couple of these storms that we were both on, and he saw it so differently than I did. And it's a very refreshing look at storms. And also, if you guys go through Tim's portfolio on the website, you'll see one of the biggest things too that caught me with his work is he had images from the east side of the storm, from the south side of the storm, from the west side of the storm, from inside the storm, from, I wouldn't put it past him to have something from above the storm, but he had all these different angles of the storm, which told a really nice story of what's going on in the atmosphere. So that that was awesome. And sad note, I see Amy's comment says, Tim, sorry, man, for your loss, but congratulations. You deserve it, man.
Yeah, I'm real bummed. I'm sorry, Tim, for your loss. He's at his grandma's funeral. It shows here, and so I'm glad he knows. I was hoping, that we would be able to. I didn't want to let anyone know ahead of time that they won, but I was hoping to get some people to jump on. So obviously, Tim has other important things going on. Would love to hear from him, and maybe we'll do some kind of separate little interview or talk with him that we'll post on the site when we can. So. Sorry about that, Tim, but I'm so glad. Maybe a little silver lining to today for you, and our thoughts are with you. But congrats to Tim, and man, I can't wait to see, especially all of them, the top three. I can't wait to see what you guys get this year. One of the other things Tim had was the Mike kept calling the asparagus field. I love that the shot he had of this, ragged shelf cloud with this incredible foreground. I don't even know. Again, we don't really know what it is. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
though.
It's asparagus.
Asparagus. Asparagus. So,
and Mike, if I could chime in just real quick. One thing, guys, so encourage you, if you're looking to enter next year, go check out on the website all the different portfolios that placed, and get ideas for next year. I know it can be easy to focus on one thing, and especially we were discussing this about the European storms. You may not have these massive storms, but you could focus in on tighter shots, wider shots, panoramas, incorporating the night sky with the storms, incorporating structures and scale, and all of that is ways to create a diverse portfolio that may not have tornadoes and rainbows and supercells and all that, but diversity doesn't just mean diversity within the storm. Diversity means diversity within your imagery and your thought process and foreground and scale and all that stuff. So those are ways to, if you live in a place that doesn't necessarily have all these aspects of a storm in general, you can diversify your portfolio by incorporating different aspects of the environment that the storm is within.
Absolutely. And that's again, something I need to work on. A lot of the stuff that I saw, again, are things that I want to try to do better with too. Foreground and different aspects of a storm. And I also think, for, some of us that chase a lot of, planes, supercell kind of storms, it's very hard to pull yourself away from the mothership supercell side of a storm and do something different. And sometimes I feel so strapped into having to stay in that one spot that I end up getting a lot of similar photos instead of going, I'm going to let this one go over me as the sun goes down and see what the backside looks like at sunset. And that, takes discipline and a sense of adventure to try to do different things, which, sometimes I don't have. So, so that's just what I'm going to be working on this year because of you guys. So I appreciate that.
All right.
Photo? So I know, Nick wanted to be here, and so I got the timer. So we're going to go into photo of the year, which, the photos were unbelievable, and I really feel bad for, some of the people who aren't going to win because, it's just cutting hairs and trying to figure out stuff that's kind of unique and different. And so whatever, any of these photos I would have loved to have got this year. So I'm hoping to go out and get stuff like this year. So we will go with the third place for photo of the year. And I think it's pronounced Daniel Palsic, but congrats to Daniel for third place. Amazing. I remember seeing this photo cross my Twitter feed or something last year, and my mind, I obviously stopped and went, what the heck? That is incredible. A really nice, probably tight shot. I forgot what I don't know if we knew what it was shot with. From a distance, so maybe it was with a 135 or a 200 or maybe a 50, and and Daniel was just really close. But that downburst on the left is just so fantastic, and bending outward, you can tell, at least for me that chased a lot of monsoon storms, and see a lot of downbursts. I mean, that's a powerful, heavy downburst. Probably looks like some hail in there, and the foot bending outward, and 2 fantastic, powerful lightning strikes. I mean, that first one with the double tweezer thing going on. I mean, just the filaments everywhere. Really, really love this picture.
Yeah, I think what you said, Mike. You know, I mean, you have 2 bolts and no downburst and no rain shaft. It's still a great image, but it doesn't have that power that is portrayed in this frame here. So for the photographer to include that, and to include, I think what I thought when I was scoring this, like the perfect amount of that. It doesn't create too much negative space on the left side of the frame, but then again, it doesn't overwhelm the beauty of the strikes. It's a really nice balance, and they shot level. They kept in the bottom right corner the shoreline kind of feeding into the frame. It's a really, really nice image, and just so many different branches coming off those bolts. It really just adds to the power. So this one, I think when we were talking about it, I was just like, this one just speaks energy. And, you know, one thing that I brought up after we discussed it was, hey, how much did they play around with the white balance? Did they make this more sunsetty than it was? And this is how it was. So just a really pretty scene right at evening light. And I also love the elevated approach, so you can see the bolts actually contacting the lake and the shoreline out there.
Yeah, and it's one of those compositions that pays off because of the lightning, you know, because you probably normally would turn your camera to the left to get the full rain shaft falling, and expecting maybe the lightning to be there, but either, you know, this person knew where the lightning was going to come out, or he was hoping it was going to come out there. And that's also kind of skill and knowledge of understanding where lightning is going to occur. Maybe on experience, or maybe just hoping like, hey, this would be a great composition. I'm going to do this and just go like this and pray. And sometimes it pays off. So
yeah. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's a great moment, because this is one of those examples where you take a risk with a composition, and it's either going to pay off or it's going to be an image nobody ever sees. You know, if you don't have the lightning strikes here, the rain foot's impressive and the downburst is impressive, but it just doesn't have that same pop. If you have just the lightning bolts here without the rain core over there, it's a cool shot, but you know, everything paid off for this photographer here, having those lightning strikes where they were, and as visible as they were, and then the rain shaft on the left side. So, you know, this is an example too of kind of going back to what I was saying at the beginning, that when we're looking at these photos, we're not looking for necessarily the big beefy mothership supercell. We're looking for, this is storm photographer or storm photo of the year, and this is a storm that probably may have been severe but may not have been severe, but it's just an awesome moment within nature. So this is maybe an example that you don't need those, you know, Tornado Alley, for example.
Well, and also want to say, hey, Nick is here.
Hey. Yeah.
Sorry, Nick. I'm sorry. Nick is so tired of me and Mike. I have to tell you how many things Mike and I have screwed up in this last month with.
Let me tell you a story.
We have messed up stuff.
Right. I was told 10 o'clock. And I was like preparing breakfast and checking my Instagram, and there's a message like, "Are you coming on?" What do you mean, am I coming on? So I don't know if my audio is good. Is my audio all right?
Sounds great. You sound good, man. How can your audio be bad? You're Nick Page. You look at where you're sitting.
Well, sometimes the internet is not ready for this beautiful, sound. It can't withstand the bassy tones coming from my voice.
Oh, hey, Chris A says audio's good, so you are good.
All right.
But hey, you jumped in right now. We would love to hear, your thoughts. We already did photographer of the year, but we're doing photo of the year, and we're on third place.
Yeah.
And so if you have any thoughts about this one, shout it out, man.
Well, what I liked about this photo is, first of all, it stands out from a lot of the other submissions. I felt like, a lot of the other submissions are big wide angle showing a big storm structure with little lightning bolts in the background. And like you guys have kind of already mentioned, the telephoto nature of this photo gives it a completely different feel. And I feel like a lot of times the compression that happens when you have those longer focal lengths in a lightning shot like this, it just gives it a totally different sense of scale. Those bolts look very, very large, and all of the little things within the frame, get smaller and smaller, I feel like. So I love the scale. Obviously, I love the color palette as well. It's got that kind of soft pastel thing going on. Processing's really solid. I love that you can see where the lightning strikes and those little pools of light that happen around. It's a really clean, really well managed, well processed photo, and it's a little bit different than some of the other submissions.
Yeah, and I will say, like, with that compression, like that focal length, 50 millimeter is usually my favorite lens to shoot lightning with. And from 50 to even 135, depending on the distance and all that kind of stuff, they're great focal lengths for lightning, because it does kind of compress that, and it does feel bigger, like Nick said, which is great, because sometimes with wide angles, not only do they feel further away, but if they're on the edge of your frame, they can like kind of bend over and get curved and not look, as realistic. So this is very real representation of this scene, because it obviously was shot somewhere around, that like 50, maybe like 28 to 50 or something, to kind of keep this shot tight. So great job.
Mike, real quick, just because we made Nick fashionably late. Nick, do you want to kind of give everybody real fast a brief description or a brief idea of kind of like what you looked for while you're judging?
Yeah, so I'm a post-processing nerd. So the first thing that always jumps out at me when I look at a photo is the post-processing. Was it well done, or was it like, I felt like a lot of the submissions as well were a little bit more like a photographer that loves working in the field, but just kind of rushes through the post-processing because it's not their favorite thing. And a lot of us can relate to that. But the post-processing to me is 50% of the technical side. So I was always looking at the post-processing, always looking at the composition, making sure that, the edges of the frame were not awkward, because if you have things either getting cut off or just needless things in the frame that could have easily been, removed by taking one step further to the right, or, a tiny little crop, sometimes those little compositional things can really get in the way of what I feel is a good photo. And then just the initial impact that a photo has. Storm photography, wave photography, there's some of the most dramatic types of landscape photos you can have. And so to me, a really good storm photo has that just initial like grab you, that initial impact. And I feel like the top photos that came through all had that initial impact. And that's a combination of the moment, the drama of the moment, but also just like the boiling down of the composition to its necessities. There's not a bunch of extra stuff in the frame. It's just like, look at this, good photo says, look at this. And storm photos are really good at that. And so that initial impact was also important to me.
Well, and again, Nick, and that's why I wanted Nick as a judge on this contest. Mike and I chase storms almost full time. Like, that's kind of what we do. Mike does volcanoes and other boring stuff like that. But we are like really chase storms a lot. Nick loves storms, but he lives up in the Pacific Northwest, and it's just not as frequent. But he's so good at the editing and the composition and teaching people and critiquing and all that stuff. And I wanted a balance, not just of just storm freaks on here, but also people that judge a good photo. And Nick kept us kind of honest on some of this stuff. Like, hey, this is a great photo, but there's this little thing I got to nitpick, and we needed that. So I'm really, really glad Nick was here to do that. And unfortunately, we've made his life difficult, and we've just all gotten to know each other and love each other better through all this. So that's great.
We don't have to mention those failures. I'll just squint my eyes at you every time I see you. You know what I'm talking about.
One thing I'd like to add to kind of feed off what Nick was saying. We all see this on social media, and this is something for you guys to think about for any of your images you shoot, whether they're going into the contest next year or whatnot. I see storm chasers or storm photographers after a storm they'll throw up on social media on Facebook or Instagram and be like, awesome super stuff from today. Here's a quick edit. Stay tuned for the real edit.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Put that TLC that you put into that entire day into post. It's easy to get excited that you have an awesome photo, but I guarantee you, I promise you, nobody is sitting on your Facebook hitting refresh every 30 seconds going, I wonder when they're going to post something epic from today that I have no idea that they have. You're the only person that knows you have that image. So take the time to process it correctly and with some love, because once you post an image that's a quote unquote quick edit, and then you take the time to edit that image properly, and then a week later throw it up, no one cares anymore.
Everyone's
it's old news.
Seen it.
So so pay attention to, or take the time to do the image properly and then put it up. And then instead of saying, hey, here's a quick edit, I'll get to a better edit. Like, that's just, to me, that's always been a pointless thing.
Yep. I mean, man, I just attest to that, because I feel like I had a night in 2015 where I got a lightning strike that was my all-time still favorite lightning strike I got. Like, it was emotional, and I remember getting it, and I rushed home and I had to do a photo shoot the next morning. I barely slept, and I'm like, I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to post anything. I'm going to wait until I'm done working and I'm back home, and I can take the time to make this worth sharing now, so it makes the biggest, kind of impact. And that's really, really good advice. And we do a lot of that. We take pictures of the back of our camera with our phones and share it. And sometimes even that's like, did I really want to do that? Save it for
guilty.
Save it for later.
I've done that before.
You have to think about how long is a portfolio piece going to be in your portfolio versus how long did you spend editing it? Are you not willing to spend like 45 minutes processing a photo well if it's going to live in your portfolio for like 40 years? Slow down, take the time, do it right.
Oh, Happy Storm Chaser says, no offense, but only women could talk this much. So
number 2,
women, obviously photographers can talk a lot too. All right, so have we made these photo people like wait long enough now?
Yeah.
So let's get to second place. Sorry, everybody. Thanks for, hey, it's 3 months of doing this. We're going to soak up the award show, and you just have to deal with it. So, all right, second place for photo of the year goes to Michael Morgan with this incredible shot of a cow in a tree and a lightning bolt. I mean, I'll personally just say, when I was getting the submissions in, I was getting them in. I'm like, okay, I'm still waiting for the one that really hits me. And it was early in the contest. And then this one popped up, and I'm like, there we go. And this one just jumps out. And I know I'm going to let Nick talk about it, because Nick had something awesome to say about it with, the thought of maybe someone thought this up in their head.
I don't remember what that spill was, but yeah, I mean, to me, this is another one that stands out from the pack because it's so different. It feels very fine art because it's so simple in composition. There's not a ton of elements, but the elements that are there are like, make you stop and think, like, why is that cow not concerned with the fact that the lightning is striking right there? It's not even flinching. And it's just so well balanced compositionally too, because it's not only very clean, very simple, but it's balanced. You have the lightning strike on the left balanced with that dark storm cloud on the right. And then the storm clouds above are kind of giving a top portion of the framing. It just feels very simple, very clean, and it feels like something that a painter would paint, and that's usually the mark of a really good composition is, if somebody was going to paint this scene, is there anything in there that the painter would not paint? And the answer is no. I think it's a very clean frame. It's very thought-provoking. It's processed well and clean. It's really unique. And I love that uniqueness.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was going to say, is that I think that's what you had said before. It's fine art. It looks like a painting. It looks like somebody. In fact, I was kind of waiting for the raw file because I'm like, did this all really happen in one photo? because, you know, a lot of times, and I know Mike has said he liked that this was kind of breaking the rule of thirds a little bit, where you put the tree front and center in the middle of the frame, which is not what we would normally do for something like this. But as Nick said, you have that cloud structure in the right to help balance out the right side of the image. And then you get lucky enough to have a lightning bolt land on the left of the tree. You just everything to set up this shot and then to have it pay off with that lightning strike is unbelievable to get it to actually happen. I mean, just incredible luck, but also skill in going, hey, I'm going to sit here and shoot this and hope to get lucky, which is a lot of what storm photography is sometimes.
Yeah, I like this image a lot. You know, I joked around in the critiques. I'm like, I wish the cow was facing the other way. Go give it a slap on the butt and have it turn around. But everything here, like, you know, breaking the rule of thirds with the subject in the center there. But then the little bit of luck that comes with storm photography and photography in general too. You know, the bolt could have easily struck just a little bit over the right and been behind the tree, and then this composition is just null and void. And you know, the cow could have been more so over the tree in the middle, and then you lose this balance. Yeah. That cloud in the top right could have been off to the right side of the frame, and then you have this negative space over there. So a lot came together to create this awesome moment. And you know, it's more. I think Nick may have mentioned it, but like it stuck with me on this image. This is more of like a fine art storm piece than like a, you know, adrenaline pumping or like documentary style. So this is something that I wouldn't mind having on my wall. Like, it's a really cool piece that has so many different elements, and you know, the photographer set up in the perfect spot too, not only just with the tree kind of in the center there, but height wise too. Any lower, you would have missed that ground contact between the bolt and the ground on the left side there. And any higher, you may have introduced more of that tree line on the right side, where it became a little bit unbalanced, more of a distracting factor. So I think they did everything. Sorry, I'm laughing at some of the comments, the moving. I find, I'll add on to this, and I'll just say that I find this image utterly amazing.
Oh God.
Enough of the dad jokes.
seriously getting that lightning bolt to land where you can see it in that thin sliver of a space is just like just incredible. I mean, for most people, and probably him, I mean, there might have been another bolt or two that didn't happen where this person wanted, where Michael wanted, but to get one to land right there is just incredible.
Yeah, you know, and one of the interesting things about this photo is most storm photos, they have a feel, they have an energy. This photo is like the most calm storm photo I've ever looked at. You know, it's got a calming effect somehow. I don't know how the hell that happens, but it does in this photo. And that's part of what makes it stand out. A lot of storm photos feel very frantic and high energy, but this one feels calm. And that's part of the fine art appeal of it, I think.
And the perfect light on the tree and the cow too. Like, the scene behind it is darker because it's raining, but the cow and the tree have such great subtle light on them to kind of set them apart from what's happening behind them. But that is still, you know, the lighting is still a big deal because it's just a cool background element. So just fantastic image. All right. Well, we're almost done. We've just got the winner. So
should we all log off now?
Waiting for my computer.
Yeah, nobody's interested.
I'm sure Nick will be like, Mike's computer's about to crash. We'll lose everything. That's what tends to happen right around this time, which is probably one of the nightmares I had last night. I was telling Mike about. So, but let's finish this up. First place photo of the year goes to Scott Peak. And honestly, Scott had two tornado photos that are just two of the best tornado photos that I've ever seen. But this one, I mean, we kind of struggled talking about his two different photos, but this one is just such a beautiful, just composition, editing. I mean, a tornado at the end of a rainbow in a row. I mean, I don't want to talk about it anymore because I get jealous and I get angry that I wasn't there. But I'm just kidding. I'm not really angry. But I want you guys to talk about it. This is just astounding tornado photo.
The only thing missing is Sasquatch riding a unicorn. You know, Like I feel like Sasquatch riding a unicorn going down that road would have really brought this photo together. Just incredible, you know, like it. I love the fact that it shows you something that you don't normally see, and that's like looking up into a tornado like that. The top portion. That's not typically, you see sane people photographing tornadoes from a distance, and you get that, you know, more telephoto, like the bottom portion of the spout. But that's just crazy. Perfect placement of the rainbow. I love the fact that the road is leading back to the rainbow. It's just an incredible photo with so much going on, yet not too much. You know, getting back to the whole clean composition thing, you can't get a much more clean foreground than this. You have just enough to tell the story. I love it.
Yeah, I think this shot, like you said, Nick, just the cleanliness of it, it's perfect. I mean, the contrast you get to with you know, the color contrast within the image, the faint rainbow, the leading line, the look up into the circulation, which is a rarity to have a very you know, high-based tornado like this. And if you guys look closely on the right side, there's so much storytelling going on in this image too. That dark path that goes from the right side of the frame across the road is actually the path of the tornado. It's the ground scar. So having that element tied in with the tornado, it's wonderful. And having chased for so long now, I could tell you, seeing tornadoes in this kind of light, where you have this kind of visibility and the terrain works with you, and there's no other chasers or cars pulled off the road or anything like that. This is a rarity. And it was also, you know, this played no role in judging, but it was also on a storm that pretty much, you know, a handful of chasers were on, because the rest of us were down in Arizona twiddling our thumbs waiting for monsoon season. And this one just kind of like appeared out of nowhere. And technically, the image is just tack sharp. The highlights aren't blown, the shadows aren't crunched. Like it's a really, really nicely worked image from start to finish.
Yeah, and for people who love storms and know storms, seeing that circulation, the swirl of it all wrapping up into that tornado, and just seeing the actual like structure and what's happening with that RFD cut and just that hook. I mean, it's just amazing, and so rare to have this. I mean, anywhere that people were shooting this tornado, it seemed like none of them were in rain. And that's just always so hard to be on something this beautiful, this great of light, and this beautiful of foreground, and having roads where, you know, Scott was just able to drive alongside this thing. And again, we want this, and as you saw from the other two photos, we want this, you know, competition not just to be about, you know, in your face, incredible, powerful, like tornado photos, but this one just kind of had everything with the composition. Yeah. And it's not just a tornado photo. It's definitely one of the best ones I've ever seen, but tack sharp, like technically, and with a great composition. And there was quite a few rainbow tornado shots this year, which Mike, of course, has one hanging behind him. So suddenly it seems like, are they that rare? But this is just incredible. So, you know, Scott, kudos to you, man. Scott chases pretty crazily and hardcore, and obviously it paid off with this. So
yeah, this is a wall hanger for sure.
Oh, yep. The other one is too. So, you know,
I mean, there was so many, like you mentioned, Mike, there were so many images in photo of the year that just like, I would kill to have any of those images. And then, you know, Scott's came through and he was like, well, like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
We just need to chase every single storm anywhere there's a chance of a tornado, and then you'll someday get something like this. You'll just be exhausted.
Yeah, this is not an image you get by just going out one time.
Yeah, this is one of those images that should come with some kind of disclaimer before we even show it. Like, kids, don't try this at home. You know, it's you know, it's pretty incredible just because of the perspective of being that close, shooting that wide. Mm-hmm. You know, You don't get that by being safe.
No, I believe
No.
I think this was a 14 millimeter like his other shot.
That's
So if you think about how wide 14 is, that tornado is just literally right there, you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing too that I like about this image too that allowed me to give it a little bit higher score is it's not an image that has houses and cars flying through the debris. It is as peaceful of a tornado as you could probably get, and I say peaceful lightly, but you're not seeing a town being hit, which for me, that's a completely different type of image when you have debris and all that in the air. And this is just simply going through, you know, a good old Minnesota cornfield or whatever. If it had some sort of aspect of like, you know, death and destruction to it, then it would have made me feel a little bit different about that moment that was captured.
Yeah, rather than being a photo that's about the violence of nature, it's just about the beauty of weather. You know, this is like weather at its most beautiful, if you could think of it that way.
Yeah, I mean, the last photo you were saying was very calm, and there is a little bit. This one I wouldn't say is calm, but it is calmer than
most tornado photos. Yeah,
you'll see, because it does have some softness to, you know, how that swirl is happening and the rainbow, and I think the green in the road gives it this calming aspect to it. And even maybe seeing like some of that blue sky, that it's like, it's not like dark and green and nasty looking, but, you know, nice colors. So
yeah, I think it's you know, I wouldn't mind having it.
No, that would be okay. I mean, if I could see something like this year, that'd be great.
Yeah,
tornado god. So so that's it. I'd like to get this off the screen and hold up one of the trophies for winners for Photographer of the Year and Storm Photo of the Year, which will be coming at some point, packed very carefully. I do think this is kind of cool that if you tap this, the tornado vibrates a little bit.
That's Trophies cool. Are delivered via tornado this year.
Yeah. And since some of the photographers I know, maybe I'll just drive them out to them and see them. But congratulations again to everybody. Nick wasn't here earlier when we were talking about everything, but I really appreciate all the work Nick has done to help with this. Nick is very busy, always making videos, and he was, had to deal with us and then create some of the critique videos, a couple of them, and nice audio issues from Mike, and then me forgetting to record my desktop on one of them. So, but I appreciate the time. All these guys are busy. Everyone's got stuff going on. Maybe with COVID, a little less than normal, although Mike seems to be traveling, going to see volcanoes all the time anyway. But and to Linda for helping score this. Again, I wish she was here. She did want to be here. She was really, really bummed that she couldn't be a part of this. And hopefully next year, or maybe some of us, or at least for me, I thought, hey, it might be fun to do some retro contests at the end of the year when storms are kind of winding down. Maybe we go back and see the best photos from 2018 or 2019 or something, but we'll see about that. But appreciate all your support and all the entries. Congratulations to the winners. And we'll obviously be contacting you to get all your information. So anybody else, you guys got anything else to add? Or
no, just you guys go out next year and do a little crappier of a job to make life easier for us.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, I think that this contest has been great motivation and inspiration to try a little bit harder for all of us. It's really tough to be a judge when you're judging work that you wish was in your own portfolio, So it's been very motivational for me, because I would love to get a crack at some of the storms that these people got to photograph. It's incredible.
No, and we talked about that earlier, Nick. A lot of, especially, the Photographer of the Year category, seeing the variety and seeing the storytelling that a lot of them did, it really motivated us to want to stop more and take our time and look for different things and go, hey, I might not be able to catch up with the storm, but this photo is probably worth me stopping right now. And so I've been inspired to try to look for just different compositions. So it's been incredibly like rewarding to know people are excited that, you know, the three of us and Linda thought, you know, your photo was worth winning and worth being in our top 10. I know people have, you know, really been excited about that. Thank to all of us, reached out to us, been excited about the critiques and all that. So I'm excited to see what we get the rest of the year. I expect people to go out and the people who won this year, the top three, I know that they're going to get even better work. And then who knows what the photos are going to be. It's going to be a great year. So thank you all for watching. Mike, were you about to say one more thing?
No, I was just saying, look forward to see everybody out in the plains. And then for those that aren't out on the plains, look forward to see you guys work, come across the channels.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Thank you all so much. Congrats again. Appreciate you joining us, Nick. Sorry again. And until the next contest, thank you again.